Hey guys, it is Brandy from Dave and Brandy's Excursions here with another port talk. You might be wondering why I'm wearing a sweatshirt with a Canadian flag. Well, it's a hint for today's video actually. It's a cruise port you would never really typical think about going to if you're used to going to Caribbean islands and warmth. But today we are going to talk about St. John, New Brunswick, Canada, and it's Canadian flag. We went there on the Sunshine in 2016. It was a short little trip there, but we loved it. So stick around and we'll chat about it. Went on the Carnival Sunshine in 2016. It was actually our first year anniversary cruise. We went in early July, just a 4-day cruise to St. John, Canada and back. Left out of New York City, so we had a sea day, then the city of St. John, spent a little time there, then a sea day back, and then came back to New York City. It was a fun little trip that we went, and we actually fell in love with St. John. Despite the misty, rainy, cool day that day, we made the most of it. So we're gonna share our experience, what we did in St. John, and then down the line, we'll talk about the different features that we didn't do in St. John, but maybe we'll do the next time we go there. So let's talk about what we did in St. John that day. So we actually rented a car in St. John. So if you're coming off the cruise terminal, it's within walking distance, maybe between maybe an eighth of a mile from the cruise terminal. There's a little Avis that's there, and we rented a car and did the Fundy Trail. Fundy Trail is probably about 40-50 miles from the cruise port. Very easy to get to. But we've seen videos and pictures of the trail, so we decided to take a look, see what it's all about. And even despite the misty, rainy, meh day, it was beautiful. It really is a beautiful area. So with the Fundy Trail, we absolutely drove it because it is a long trail. It is about 19 miles of trail, but it kind of hugs the coastline a little bit, and you get spectacular views. A lot of cliffs that show the rocky beach and the water. There's actually, if you go off of some of the observation lookouts, which there are several on the trail, you could do like little walking too. There's like little nature walkways, which we checked out a few of those too. But it was simply beautiful. Even the ride to the Fundy Trail is beautiful. We went through a couple different covered bridges along the way. We were hoping to see a moose because obviously there's moose signs around Canada. There's that one. Darn. But along the way with the different observation points, coming back, we actually stopped at a little restaurant called the Caves Restaurant. It's on the lower points of the trail. You're by the water, obviously. But we had poutine there for the first time. Oh my God, it was so good. I mean, how can you go wrong with French fries, gravy, and cheese all together? Oh, and it hit the spot with that cool day that we had. But another cool thing by the Caves Restaurant, there are little, what they look like caves that are by the water that's kind of built into the rock there. And that's really pretty cool to check out also. We obviously didn't go into them, but just looking from the distance, it just looked really cool. But another cool spot that we went to, I can't remember the exact spot that we stopped along the way. There was a cool little like a swinging bridge that was there that we walked across this little creek or creek, as we say around here. And it's just really cool with the sign that said you can't use automobiles, snowmobiles, and all of that. So we walked across it and had a little fun on the bridge too, but it was something cool just to see the lay of the land with the little fog kind of by the mountain there. But along with our adventures on our way back, we went back into town and just kind of walked around, and we stopped at the market square, which is like a little shopping area with it's more or less like a mall. We walked around there for a little bit, and there's these cool little statues around the area. They're like little people, but they're carved out of wood, and just a little touch to the area. We also walked uphill because if you actually go into the town of St. John, it's uphill. Just kind of a cool thing about the city too. We went to Picaroons, which is a craft brewery place there, and that was so good. Just to sit there and chat with even some of the locals that were in the area. And of course, being in Canada, you get to talk about snowmobiling, and Dave's talking to a couple who are snowmobilers that have Arctic Cats, so that was just a nice common thing to talk about, and that was pretty cool. The couple was real nice too. And we just ended up just walking back to the ship and just chilling, well, kind of warming up because we were in the hot tub on the way back. But if we were to do other things that are around the area, because between doing the Fundy Trail and just kind of walking around, we were on limited time in St. John. So the next time we go to St. John, what are we gonna do? Some of the cool features or places in St. John, one of them is the Reversing Falls, which really isn't too far from the cruise port. But the way that the water goes from the St. John's River to the Bay of Fundy, it has a neat formation of the water. It looks like the water's going in reverse, hence the Reversing Falls. So that'd be one cool thing to check out while you're in the St. John area. And also along the Fundy Trail, there's a place called Hopewell Rocks, which we didn't get a chance to check out because the timing wasn't just right and we were on limited time. But this is the place that has the highest tides in the world. So the differences in the tide range from obviously sea level, but can go up to 50 feet. That's a lot of change, but just that is a time-consuming thing because it does take a few hours to have the tide come in and then go out. So fortunately, we just didn't have the time to do that. But I could put a link up in the description up above, like a YouTube video that shows the incoming and outgoing tides of the Bay of Fundy. So check it out. It is pretty interesting to watch. And another cool place to check out would be the St. John City Market. Not to be confused with the Market Square that I talked about that we went to. This is more or less like a farmer's market where you could buy produce, try different foods from the area. It's really cool to check out. We've seen ParaDJ actually went to that when they went to St. John last year, or was it the year before? But when they went to St. John, they went to the market, and it looks so cool just to experience the local fairs there. So that'd be one thing to check out also. There's also the New Brunswick Museum, which you would have to walk a little bit of ways up. When you get off the cruise part, it'll be to your left and keep going. It does have neat exhibits of the history of New Brunswick and the city of St. John because it is a fishing area. So there's a lot of neat nautical history about the town, and also there's cute little art galleries too. They are open 7 days a week, of course excluding some holidays, but generally they are open 9 to 5. Some days are 10 to 5. I believe that's on Sunday. But if you want to check it out, if you're in the area, take a gander at it. And another thing that when we go back to St. John, which we're actually going back to St. John on the Carnival, well, the Mardi Gras, not the Carnival, Mardi Gras. in September of 2020 with a whole bunch of fellow YouTuber creator friends. That's gonna be a busy vlogging cruise. So anyway, one of the things that we want to do, like I mentioned, we went to Picaroons, which is more of a craft brewery place. There's also Big Tide Brewing, which actually I'm looking on the map, which wasn't far from Picaroons. We do want to go there, and there's a whole bunch of different pubs and eateries even within that mile radius. So we like to tend to check out the local craft beers if we can, so that's definitely on our list to try out. And actually, the last thing that we are planning to do when we go to St. John in 2020 is actually do a whale watching excursion. We've never done a whale watching excursion. Technically, the only whale that we saw ever out in the wild, it wasn't really an excursion, needless to say. It was actually on that same trip on the Carnival Sunshine. And our way up, going to St. John, we actually saw a whale off of, I believe it was off of port side. I can't remember which way, but it was just so weird. We're just looking out on our sea day going up to St. John, and we see a whale probably maybe about 100, 200 feet from the ship. So that was pretty cool. Never saw a whale out in the wild like that before, so that was pretty cool to see. So far with the whale watching excursion, we do have a few people along with the group that are going with us, so that's going to be an awesome excursion to do. But that is, I believe it's a few hour excursion to do. But then I think on the way back, we're going to try to hit up on some of the breweries in the area to check those out when we get back and get back on the ship. But question to you guys, have you ever been to St. John? Have you been to Canada on a trip? Leave a comment below. I'd like to know what you've done in St. John or any Canadian excursions that you've done. And I want to thank you guys for hanging out with us for another Cruise Day Tuesday. If you like this type of content, give it a big old thumbs up, like, comment, and consider subscribing. And as always, links to all our social media is down below. And we do have new t-shirts available in our Teespring store, so links to that is in the description below also. Thanks again, guys, and we'll see you next week. Bye!